So as you all know, 4.0 finally released. CIG finally shoved it out the door, and a stripped down version, minus engineering, and minus a lot of working missions and working servers, and with plenty of bugs right before their holiday break, but they shoved out the door in a form and state known as the 4.0 preview. So I haven't done an update video on the Sentinel in quite a while. I was typically going to wait, major patch cycles, and seeing as we don't know when we'll get the 4.0 full release, my bet is in March or April, I decided to use the 4.0 preview to get most of my information from and actually take the Sentinel out into Pyro for the first time. While it does have its bugs, and it does still have some downsides in it, it is a lot better off than it used to be in some aspects, and other aspects it's worse. Now that we have component variability, you can make it pretty sneaky. The downside of that is to get the grade A stealth components, you have to do contested zone stuff, and it's fine if you have a big group to run with and some friends, but it's not so fine if you're trying to do it by yourself. So without further ado, I'm going to hop right into it. So you have your cooler slots, you have your shield generator slots up top on the sides here, you have your power plant slots below that, you have your beds for logout, the engineering station, which is functional but kind of useless because the pilot can do everything that it can do. You have your turret access in the middle, same spot. Non-functioning storage compartments for your kitchenette. Your slide-out gun rack. And a storage compartment that works now. Pressing F on it opens up an inventory, so you can actually store stuff in it. The inventory management system that they added recently kind of broke that initially, until this was fixed. And then you got your bathroom. With a toilet. Hygiene gameplay 1. And at the very rear, you have your quantum drive. Now with a new and improved look for the jump drive added to it. So in 4.0, compared to 3.24.1, I think is when they made the last Sentinel video, the Sentinel now has 48,000 whole health. They've doubled it from the last time, when it used to be, 22? 24? It has the best out of all the Vanguard series, the best physical, energy, and distortion damage reduction. It has 0 negative modifiers to EM, cross-section, and IR signatures. Its body and nose is 10 grand each, which is pretty fucking good for a heavy fighter. But the weapons leave a little bit to be desired still. You are still stuck with the default bespoke nose guns. While these are really good for burning ships down, overloading them distortion-wise and putting them to sleep, they absolutely are atrocious for fucking breaking shields. The Attrition 5 is great for damage on large ships, but it's terrible for smaller ships as it has only a 1,000 meters velocity. Now, what I typically do on mine is throw Galderine on it, so anything medium and smaller, size 2 shields and smaller, if I get nose on, they're almost instantly losing shields, and then going to sleep shortly after an EMP burst, and then saturate with the ATVS repeaters. Now, power plant wise, it's the only Vanguard that has a size 2 shield or size 2 power plant and a size 1 power plant. All of the other Vanguards only have a single size 2 power plant now, as opposed to the dual size 2 power plants that they used to have because CIG nerfed them to sell their Guardian. Now, default range on the stock quantum drive, which is a stealth grade C, is 112.5 granny meters. Now, you can update it to an XL1, get more range, but more signature when you're in nav mode. The same thing as the Spicule, which gives you some really good range while still being stealth, but you can't buy that anymore because it's grade A and those have been removed from the market. A Bolt is your best option, and that's typically what I run on mine. Now, for your power plants here, well, like I said, it only shows you having a singular size 2. You have a size 1 power plant slot additionally. Now, with that size 1 slot, you can grab a, I want to say it's a Delta Max size 1. It's a stealth component, and it keeps in line with the rest of your components being stealth, even though they're grade C and B mix, to have the lower signature. Now, with this all said and done, you're still going to be visible from about 8 to 10 kilometers pretty easily if somebody's actually paying attention, because it is a large ship with a large signature. Now, going down to here, in 4.0, the size 4 racks for the under the engine nacelles and the shoulder mounts are all locked now. You can no longer change these to size 4 missiles, size 3 missiles, or size 1 missiles. You're stuck with 4 size 2, 4 size 2, 2 size 3, 2 size 3. What you put in there is up to you. I'm not going to say one thing's better than the other because I've had issues with the Ignites and Dominators even launching out of a Sentinel. Now, out of all the Vanguard series ships, the Sentinel has the best agility. 40 degrees a second pitch, 34 yaw, 126 roll. Now if you go up here, pull up the Warden, for example, the basic Vanguard, no extra fancy stuff internally. You can see it's 40, 33, 126. So pitch is the same, but yaw and roll are slightly lower. Go up to the Harbinger. While the Harbinger has 38, 32, 120, it has lower health now. And the negative emissions modifier, same as the Warden, same as the Hoplite. But the Hoplite's not as bad. The Hoplite, on the other hand, did get a massive bump in HP to put it in line with other dropships, such as the Cutlass Steel or the Valkyrie. Unfortunately, it's still a Vanguard with a single size 1 power plant now, so hit or miss if you want to use it like that. But it also has the worst agility to compensate for its increased health. Now, compare that to something, say, let's go to the Mirai Guardian. Now, the Guardian has lower pitch than the Vanguard Sentinel, but it has higher yaw and higher roll. Also has more HP, but lower body HP. It has a lot more breakable parts. The other downside of the Guardian is the EM and IR negative modifiers, and the distortion and energy damage that it receives increased. Why they did this, I will never know. Maybe it's in some sort of balance, because they gave it 2 size 5s. But you can see this thing from halfway across fucking Stanton. Now, combat. Well, how does it hold up against a medium-sized ship, say this random C1 I happened across? As you can see, it doesn't really take all that long with the Galderine and the ATVSs to strip shields, even though the ATVSs aren't really doing much to the shields. But once the shields are down, and it's all distortion damage being applied, I don't need to worry as much about the Galderine. I will shut him off before I'll blow him up. Now, while applying the damage consistently is still key, you can notice he's not really shooting much anymore. That's because the distortion has shut his guns off. And now it's just a matter of burning him down, or he tries to run, and when he realizes he can't fire consistently anymore, and an EMP pop or two later, he'll be falling out of the sky. And just skip to that now. Now, for fighting small ships, you typically don't want to do that on your own. You want to, at minimum, have a gunner, and at maximum, you would really want to be in a fucking group and be A, the third partier, or B, the tank that's gonna catch everybody's attention and say, hey, look at me, shoot me, while you EMP to distract and disto them off for your teammates to pick off. Equivalent skill, pilot and pilot, a medium or light fighter will win against a solo vanguard every time. For its role, it's fine, but as a 1v1 fighter, that is not what it's intended for. Now, all things considered, I think the Sentinel is in a better state than it used to be. You have functional storage now. You still have the same weapon loadout, which the bespoke guns are a gimp, and CIG is pretty dumb for leaving them in after all this time. They used to be size 2.5 worth of damage, now they're just flat out equivalent size 2s. But having that turret is very useful. 1v1 against an equivalent skill pilot, you'll get cooked. In a group, you can do pretty well if you know what you're doing and have your gunner. Against NPCs and AI, well, it's more than adequate against the vast majority of them. Sure, you can get swarmed by a bunch of smaller ships, but that's what the EMP is for. Strip shields, EMP, move on. Strip shields, EMP, move on, and then come back and mop up. Overall, it could still use some more balancing, but the stealth components give it a slight edge. The default stealth components on the Sentinel give it a slight edge. And hopefully one day CIG will see the error of their ways and bump up its turret guns to size 3, so they're at least on par with the damn Cutlass Black. But until then, I'm still gonna fly this in Pyro, I'm still gonna shoot people in Pyro, I'm still gonna EMP people in Pyro. Maybe I'll go back to Sentinel and do the same thing once I get the prison system fixed. Till next time, thanks for watching.